On September 12, 1940, 4 boys in France set out with their dog on an amazing adventure. They had heard an old legend about a secret tunnel leading to a hidden treasure, and they were determined to find that treasure. Off they wandered through the woods of the Dordogne, one of the most beautiful places on earth, searching for their treasure. They searched and they searched, but secret tunnels and hidden treasures tend to be hard to find. Just when they thought they would have to abandon their quest and return to the everyday life of schoolboys, their little dog, with a curious name of Robot, ran ahead and began sniffing around a patch of ground covered with overgrowth. The boys ran to catch up with Robot and began exploring the spot he had been drawn to. When they removed some of the branches at their feet, they discovered a deep hole left by a large tree that had been uprooted. Surely this hole would lead them to the secret tunnel and the hidden treasure. The excitement in the boys' hearts grew. With nervous, trembling hands, they tossed rocks into the hole and listened for them to hit the bottom so they could tell how deep the hole was. These were clever boys. Finally, they swallowed their fear and decided to take the plunge and climb down into the depths, not knowing what terrors this dark hole might have in store for them. These were brave boys. With their pocket knives, they dug out the sides of the opening, making it wide enough for them to enter. Then, one by one, each of the 4 boys slid down the hole, not knowing where it would lead them, not knowing what dangers lay below, but determined to risk everything to find the treasure. It was a terrifying descent, the boys later recalled. Hearts filled with both excitement and fear, they crawled down the ragged sides, 50 feet down, and found themselves in a cold, dark, underground cave. Once they were all safely on the ground, they lit their oil lantern to explore. We can only imagine the utter amazement in the eyes of these 4 young adventurers as they shined the lamp on the walls and ceiling of the underground chamber and saw the most remarkable sight they had ever laid eyes on. Indeed, one of the most remarkable sights anyone had ever laid eyes on. There, painted in brilliant colors on the hard stone all around them, was an endless procession of animals: horses, deer, buffalo, lions, wolves, bears, and others. Each was larger than life, and each seemed to be moving. So real was the depiction that the boys could almost hear the sounds of the running animals. Mesmerized by this incredible vision, the boys ventured through the cave, everywhere discovering more and more amazing paintings. They stayed in the cave until the oil from their lantern began to run out, and they realized sadly they would have to go back to the real world above. But they promised each other that they would return to their cave the next day and explore further. Not knowing exactly what it was they had found, but fully aware that it was something very, very extraordinary, the young adventurers confided their secret to their school principal. Naturally, being an adult and a reasonable human being, he didn't believe them. In fact, he thought they were just naughty youngsters trying to play a trick on him and looking for a way to push him down the hole. It took a great deal of convincing to talk the teacher into seeing for himself. As soon as he went with the boys into the cave, however, his jaw dropped, and he realized They were in the presence of paintings made thousands of years ago by people who lived before history began. He told the boys they must guard the cave and not allow anyone to touch the paintings or do any damage to them. One of the boys, 14-year-old Marçal, took this very seriously, camped out day and night at the entrance to the cave, and dedicated the rest of his life to protecting this magnificent treasure. He became totally devoted to what they had found. Visitors began arriving to see this incredible art, and young Marçal became their guide. Soon, the greatest archaeologist and prehistorian of the day, the famous Father Henri Breuil, heard of it and came to see for himself. Now the great scientist confirmed that it was authentic and close to 20,000 years old. So exquisite is the art in the cave at Lascaux that it became known as the Sistine Chapel of prehistoric art. Little Marçal remained the principal guide at the famous site until his death in 1989, for he had found his treasure, a treasure beyond any he could have imagined. All of us seek hidden treasures to enrich our lives. We think we know what the treasure will look like. We think we know where to look for it. We think we know what will bring us the happiness we so desire. Our quest takes us through secret tunnels, over dark and slippery places, down frightening and dangerous holes. Some have followed the voices of angels, some a guiding star, still others a little dog named Robot. No one has ever found the treasure they seek. But if we travel those paths with the innocent idealism of a child, the simple heart of a shepherd, the trusting wisdom of a king, we suddenly find ourselves inside a humble cave we never dreamed existed, in a hidden place called Bethlehem, buried deep inside an even more hidden place called the human heart. It is there that all our elusive treasures lose their meaning. Our greatest dreams lose their grandeur. For it is there, in the cave at Bethlehem, that we discover that God's imagination, God's artistry, God's dream for us is infinitely greater than ours ever could be. It is there that we find God's masterpiece of love, the greatest treasure of all.